What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Zaglan Law Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Isaiah, and today, y'all, we have another team NFL mock draft, and the team that's on the clock is the Atlanta Falcons. Man, the Atlanta Falcons had a very active free agency as they were able to sign Kirk Cousins and also sign Darnell Mooney. So without further ado, y'all, let's get into it. So at pick 8, y'all, I have the Atlanta Falcons selecting Dallas Turner, edge rusher out of Alabama. And when I look at this from a fit perspective, it makes so much sense because the Falcons for years have been looking for that guy at the edge rusher spot, and they have just not been able to find him. You know, you talk about in 2015, they selected Vic Beasley Jr., that didn't work out. In 2017, they selected Tack McKinley, that didn't work out. It's time, y'all, for them to get that true number one edge rusher that can really get after the quarterback and also make plays in the run game. Because you look at the Falcons, that's why they really had so many struggles defensively. Y'all, when you don't have a guy that can consistently get after the quarterback, whether it be a defensive tackle or whether it be an edge rusher, it's going to make life so much hard for you on defense. Even though the Falcons, I like Jesse Bates at safety, I like AJ Terrell at corner, but you need to get that guy up front that can get after the quarterback, can affect him, make him throw interceptions, and Dallas Turner can do that. Y'all did a scouting report on Dallas Turner a few weeks ago. I compared him to Vic Beasley Jr., which is kind of funny, and Will Anderson Jr. Although I think Dallas Turner definitely has a much higher ceiling than Vic Beasley did. I think he has a better motor, because that was the biggest thing with Vic Beasley. Y'all remember that we said he was a good player when he came out of the draft, but his motor, he was very inconsistent. There were times he didn't play. There were other times he felt like playing. But Dallas Turner, this is a guy, his motor is on all the time, and he would be that number one edge rusher they've been looking for. I don't think Dallas Turner will ever be like a TJ Watt in terms of getting those 17, 18, 19 sacks a season, but I do think he'll be like a 10 to 12 sack guy, which is still a good pass rusher. Okay, don't get that wrong, y'all. Having a guy that can get you 10 to 12 sacks a year is really good, and that's what the Falcons need. At pick 43, y'all, I had them taking Ennis Rakestraw Jr., cornerback out of Missouri. When I look at the Falcons, I think argue that corner is their second biggest need. I know some people tell you wide receiver is their second biggest need, but I think corner is, y'all, because outside of AJ Terrell, they don't really have anybody. I know they signed Kevin King, but I mean, come on, y'all. Kevin King, we saw what he looked like the last time he was playing in the NFL. And then they also have Clark Phillips, who they drafted last year in the 4th round. I like Clark Phillips, but he's undersized. He's only 5'9". He's really a slot cornerback. The Falcons need a outside number 2 corner to pair with AJ Terrell, y'all. And I look at Ennis Rakestraw Jr. The biggest thing about him is his physicality, is his aggressiveness, and that he is really good in man coverage. I would say the biggest knock on him is his injury history and his lack of ball production. Because you're talking about a guy, y'all, that when he was in college, right, he only had 1 interception, which is like, that's not great, but that's okay because you got AJ Terrell who can take the ball away. One of the things I really love about Ennis Rakestraw, though, is that he is always around the football. So he's going to get a lot of pass deflections. He just doesn't have great hands, so he's not going to get a lot of interceptions. But because of his physicality and aggressiveness, he will, like I said, he will be able to get a lot of PBUs. And the Falcons need that, right? Right now, they only have 1 really good corner, but you need multiple good corners. It's like with edge rusher. You can never have much edge rusher in the league. You can never have too many cornerbacks in the league. The Falcons need more corner. They need more depth, and they need more talent. And this Rakestraw is really good. And the biggest thing, y'all, about him, too, is his height. Him being about 6 feet, 183 pounds. So he's not like he's 5'8", 5'9", like Clark Phillips. He has some pretty solid height. Next up, y'all, pick 74. I have the Falcons taking Jalen Polk, wide receiver out of Washington. Honestly, I was surprised that Jalen Polk was still here. But I think, y'all, that wide receiver is still a pretty big need, honestly, because I know they signed Darnell Mooney, but Darnell Mooney is more of a slot wide receiver. You're talking about right now, they have obviously Drake London, who they drafted a couple years ago in the 1st round at pick 8. He's an outside receiver. Darnell Mooney's a slot, but then that other outside receiver position, they don't have anybody there. Jalen Polk, that's what he is, y'all. Talking about the dude that's about 6'2", about 205 pounds, and really the biggest knock against Jalen Polk is his speed. He's not the fastest guy, but everything else he has: route running, contested catch ability. He has really good hands, tough dude in a run game. Like, he has everything else you would want in a wide receiver except speed, really. That's what he doesn't have. But that's okay because y'all, you have Darnell Mooney, who is a really fast guy. So it's okay if we have a guy, Jalen Polk, who's not okay. Let me just say this: Jalen Polk is not like incredibly slow. He's just not the fastest guy, right? He ran about a 4.52 at the combine, so he's not going to be Tyreek Hill or somebody like that in terms of speed, but he gets open consistently. Like I said, he has really good hands, and he's tough as a run blocker. That's what the Falcons need. He would be the perfect number 2 wide receiver with Drake London. And I would like that receiver core with Drake London, Jalen Polk, and Darnell Mooney. Next up, y'all, pick 79. I have the Atlanta Falcons taking Rook Arroyo, defensive tackle out of Clemson. I think the DT spot is a huge need for the Falcons, like huge need, because Grady Jarrett is getting older. Grady Jarrett's still a good player, but he is getting older, y'all. Then you look, they have David Onyemata. David Onyemata, he's okay, but I think the Falcons could stand to use a major upgrade at the DT spot. First, I think Rook Arroyo can actually be a Grady Jarrett replacement, but if they decide to keep Grady Jarrett, say, on the team this year, I think Rook Arroyo can actually play next to him, instead of David Onyemata. Y'all really like Rook Arroyo a lot. I think he is your prototypical nose stopping defensive tackle. I would really love him to the Falcons because it's a major need for them. We're talking about a dude that's 6'4", about 291 pounds. So he's a little undersized, but he makes up for it with height and athleticism. I mean, he ran a 4.89. This dude is super, super, super athletic, y'all. So I know he's not a great pass rusher, but that's okay because I think he can get better over time. And with Raheem Morris, y'all, I mean, Raheem Morris is a defensive-minded head coach. So I think Rook Arroyo can become a better pass rusher. But right now, his athleticism with his height and his run-stopping ability, that's what the Falcons need up the middle. Next up, y'all, pick 109. I have the Atlanta Falcons taking Cameron Kitchens, safety out of Miami. Cameron, he is a guy that coming into the season, he was seen as potentially a first-round pick, definitely a second-round pick. Now, he's probably going to go in the 3rd or 4th rounds. And a lot of that is because of his performance at the combine where he did not run well at all. And then on top of that, y'all, he really did not look that great during the on-field drills. But Cameron Kitchens, he still has elite ball production. You talking about a dude that had 5 interceptions this season for the Miami Hurricanes. He is a guy that I think you have to play him in a hybrid role because of his speed, right? Because he's a guy that only ran a 6.5 at the combine. He only had a 35 broad jump, so he's definitely not athletic really at all. But he's a very instinctive player, really smart. He's tough, and again, the ball skills, y'all. I mean, 11 takeaways the last 2 years, great. Like I told y'all a couple seconds ago, 5 picks this past season. So I think you're going to have to play him in a hybrid role. Like, you don't want him really going down the field to get, say, a Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase, guys that are elite route runners, but you can definitely have him cover some tight ends, and you could definitely put him in a box. I think he's still a talented player. He's just going to be a kind of a scheme-dependent player, meaning that if he's in the right scheme, he's going to play really well. If he's in the wrong scheme, man, I don't think Cameron Kitchens going to have as much success. At pick 143, y'all, had the Falcons taking Cedric Johnson, edge rusher, out of Ole Miss. And I know I have the Falcons taking Dallas Turner at pick 8, but y'all, like I said a few minutes ago, you can never have enough edge rushers. Cedric Johnson, very energetic, man. That's the biggest thing. I feel like when you just watch him play, like, this is a dude that's very energetic. If he makes a play, if his teammates make a play, man, this is a dude that's just like, jumping up and down. He's hyped, he's excited. The Falcons could use more guys like that. He only had 5.5 sacks this past year, but as a rotational situational pass rusher, I think he could be good. Not the quickest dude. I mean, 4 to 6'3" is not bad, but he had a 10-2 on the broad jump, so he's decently athletic. But again, y'all, this is just a guy that can be a situational pass rusher, and he's a really good special teams player. I like that about Cedric Johnson. So even if he never, is able to really, get some sacks in the NFL, he can be a core special teams player. You need that, y'all. Special teams are very important. Trust me, I'm a Tennessee Titans fan. The last 3 or 4 years, our special team unit has been pretty poor. It's cost us a couple of games. You got to have players that can bring value to your team on special teams as well, and Cedric Johnson can do that. And then, y'all, the final 2 picks, at pick 187, I had to take a Jaheim Bell, tight end out of Florida State. The reason I went this route is because, outside of Kyle Pitts, the Falcons don't really have a good backup tight end. Obviously, they traded away Jonnu Smith, So they don't have him any longer. Jonnu Smith had a really solid year for them last year. So I just like take Jaheim Bell, 6'2", about 241 pounds. Not a great blocker, but he's a good catcher of the football. And has some decent speed too. And y'all, he also has some yard after the catch ability that will surprise you. So I think that Jaheim Bell could be another, just weapon for Kirk Cousins to throw to. You can never have enough weapons in the league. So I think he could be another weapon. And finally, y'all, at pick 197, I had to take a Devin Leary, quarterback out of Kentucky. And I know that Desmond Ridder is still on the roster, but I would not be surprised at all if Desmond Ridder ends up getting cut or traded before the season starts. Seriously, y'all, because I don't know. I don't think the Falcons really would trust him to be a backup quarterback, honestly. And I think Devin Leary, because of his experience, now Devin Leary is not great, but he is going to be 25 in September. So like this is the dude that's played a lot of football. And a couple years ago, Devin Leary had 35 touchdowns, only 5 picks. So this dude could play a little bit, right? This past season for Kentucky, he's a little erratic, but he still had 23 touchdowns to only 10 interceptions. So I think he could develop into a solid backup quarterback. And again, y'all, like at this point in the draft, you're looking for dudes that really either one can contribute on special teams or two can become good backup players for you, because you need depth in this league, right? Not only do you need good stars, y'all, but you need depth. I think the Falcons, you take Devin Leary, you hope he can develop into a decent backup quarterback just in case, Kirk Cousins were to go down with an injury. Because again, y'all, I don't think they trust Desmond Ridder at this point to be a backup quarterback. So I had him taking Devin Leary. So there y'all have it, Falcons fans. That was my 2024 Atlanta Falcons mock draft. Remember, laughter's good medicine, so make sure you get your daily dose. Y'all know I'm in the man. I love y'all. God bless. Peace.